Welcome everyone. Today's topic is finance and investing. Know your money game. So we're going to be talking about the different ways for you to fund your deal and what it takes for you to fund your deal and have very little money out of pocket. Okay, so first of all, let's start. What does it take to get funding for your deals? First of all, and this is what the pros have. Okay, so they have a great deal. Okay, number one, so you have to have a great deal. Number two, you have to understand basic analysis. And then number three, obviously, you need to have funding. And this is what we're going to cover today, funding. But the key is that most investors who do not get funding is because they don't have a great deal. That's where the problem is, okay? Because when you have a great deal, guess what? You are going to get funded for it. Obviously, you need to know how to present it to get it funded. But let's talk about the different ways that you can fund your deal. And then what I want to show you is an example of the better ways and easier ways for you to have very little money out of pocket. So let's start with the funding options that you have available. So number one, obviously cash. But even if you have cash, it's not a good idea to put all your eggs in one basket, right? So you want to leverage from other people's money and other people's time. So even if you have the money, you won't be able to grow exponentially if you use all your sources in a couple of deals. So the second better option would be hard money lenders, hard money, okay? Hard money lenders are institutions, biggest institutions, and they're going to give you the money fast if you have a great deal. Typically, it's more expensive, so they're going to be charging somewhere between 9% all the way to 17% interest rates, 2 points, and it's a short-term loan, okay? These, again, are asset-based lenders. So they're going to be looking at your deal, making sure that you do have a great deal. Otherwise, they're not going to fund the money. And something that is really, really important for them is that you need to have at least 25% equity on the deal. Okay, so what does that mean? Let's go over that because you need to understand the numbers. What it means is if you buy the house, okay, for $100,000, and then you put in 50,000 in rehab, okay? All in 150, right? 150. Well, guess what? You need to make sure that this property appraises for at least 200,000, okay? 200,000. Therefore, you're gonna have 25% equity. So this is what they're looking for, 25% equity. And guess what? This is going to translate into a ratio that most lenders use. It's called debt coverage ratio. Okay, so I'm going to spell this out. Debt and then coverage ratio. Okay, so they are expecting at least 125 for the debt coverage ratio, but that pretty much translates into having at least a 25% equity on the transaction. So this is the way you need to think. How do I make sure that I get a great deal to get it funded? Very simple. Follow this secret. Purchase price 100. This is just an example. It better appraise for 200,000. Okay, so right away you need to think with the end in mind. What does the property need to appraise for so that I have enough equity and that I'm able to refinance the property successfully? Okay, so you need $100,000 spread. Okay, and obviously the rehab needs to be less than 50,000. So that's the $1 million secret that I love to share with everyone when it comes to finding a great deal. So take the asking price, add 100,000 to it, and the rehab should be less than 50,000. So that is by far the best and easier way to know whether you have a great deal. Okay, so that's hard money lenders. So that's the second type. Now let's go over a third option. Okay, a third option for funding. We're gonna put the funding options up here. Okay, so number one, obviously cash. Number two, it's going to be hard money lenders. Number three, we're gonna do private money lenders. Private money lenders, okay? So what do they have in common? They have one thing in common, okay? So they both are asset-based, asset-based. So they're going to be looking at the property itself. So they wanna make sure that the property that you have on the contract, it's a great deal with enough equity on the back end, because when you ask for funding, they're going to ask you for your rehab estimate, and also they want to know the comps. So once you rehab the property, how much will that property be worth afterwards? So they want to make sure that you have 25% equity. Okay, so again, they are asset-based, both of them, hard money lender, private money lender. Now, what's the difference? There are many differences between the two of them. Okay, so hard money lenders are institutions like large corporations. So for instance, Chicago Funding, Lima Capital, Constructive, Renovo, just to mention a few, okay, Barnett Capital. And then private money lenders are individuals like you and me, but they chose to stay passive in early stage. So instead of investing, they chose to lend money to investors like you and I in exchange for a return, okay? So these are relationship based, is who you know, super, super important, okay? Private money lenders. Now, both of them are going to be expensive, okay? This is not cheap money. So you're looking at, again, 9% all the way, I've seen, to 17%. The average is going to be 12%, okay? They're gonna charge you 2 points, okay, for origination upfront, and it's a short-term loan. So you're looking at maybe 6 to 12 months, okay? So that's what they have in common. Now, the biggest difference with private money lenders versus hard money lenders is that private money lenders is way more flexible, okay? Because institutions, they have protocols, okay, to follow. They have ratios to meet. Whereas private money lenders, it's more based on your rapport, your experience, how they trust you, okay? Even if you are a newbie, okay, it doesn't matter. If you have a great deal, you have a great potential of getting funded from private money lenders. And I'm gonna give you an example of what I'm just talking about in just a second. Okay, so again, these are the major 3 ways to get funding for your deals, and there are many more, okay? I'm just gonna briefly mention, but we're not gonna go into the details of them. Okay, so number 4, you have pension plans, right? Like the 401k plans. 401k pension plans, that's another way where you can borrow money to buy your property. Another way is through partnerships, okay? You may provide the time, the knowledge, and you have a funding partner. So they provide the capital. So this is through partnerships. Partners, okay? Another way to get it funded is through seller financing, okay? If the seller has a lot of equity, the property is free and paid off, then seller financing is another way. So they can carry the note. So the owners are going to act as if they were a lender. And the terms are going to be very similar. So should somebody default, they're going to take over the property. So they need to go through the foreclosure process. But again, that's another option, seller financing. Okay, another way to buy properties is through HELOC. HELOC stands for Home Equity Line of Credit. So if in your primary residence, you have a lot of equity, let's assume that you only have an outstanding balance of $50,000, but the property is worth $200,000, right? So you have $150,000 spread. Therefore, that's your equity, that's your net worth. Guess what? You can tap into that to get cash. So you're gonna do a HELOC on your primary residence or your home equity. And that's just one of the better ways also to get cheap money, because guess what? The interest rates on HELOCs are very, very low. Okay, the collateral is going to be your home, but this is another easy way to ramp up cash for your deals. Okay, so HELOCs. Now you have another way, 8, through credit cards. Okay, but it's not personal credit cards. I'm talking about business credit cards. Okay, so business credit cards, it's just a great way to get money for the down payment, money for the rehab. So when you have your entity created, then you need to apply for business credit cards. And guess what? We're going to give you about 7 banks to apply for business credit cards. It's just an incredible way for you to raise quick money for your rehabs, down payments, even you have cash advance. Currently, we have 7 business credit cards amounting to about 250,000 in credit. Okay, out of that, about 50,000 is cash advance. So we can stop by the bank, boom, request a cash advance. Obviously, it's going to be expensive money, but that's another way to get money. Business credit cards. Now, number 9, a line of credit. Okay, so I'm going to write line of credit. So what's a line of credit? When you go with the hard money lenders, the big institutions, typically they are going to ask you for your liquidity. So they're going to request your liquid assets. They're going to check for your bank account statements, and based on that, they're going to multiply that times either 5 or 10, and they're going to give you money for your fix and flips or your rentals. Okay, I want to make sure that you see everything that I'm writing all the way down. So at least I mentioned 9 ways to get funding for your deals. But now the question is, which way is the better way? In my opinion, the better way is to use private money lenders and hard money lenders. Okay, we're actively using both of them. Okay, even if we had the cash, that's not the best way to put all your money into just few deals and stop your growth, right? You want to put as little money as possible, but yet have enough equity in the properties to satisfy their requirements. And not only that, but obviously increase your net worth as time goes on. Because if you have all your money tied up in a couple of deals, that's the end of your real estate career, right? There's no more growth. So when you have enough equity, think about the HELOCs. Okay, HELOCs, it's also another great way to get funding. HELOC pension plans, they are my 3rd and 4th better options. Okay, but by far, hard money lenders and private money lenders. Now, the question is, which one do I like better, hard money lenders or private money lenders? My very favorite is private money lenders, because guess what? Today, there's more money out there available that you can borrow. I mean, I'm serious. If you have a great deal, there are plenty of private money lenders that are willing to lend their money. They're sitting on a lot of cash. And one of the reasons why I like private money lenders is because the terms are more flexible. Okay, what do we mean by that? What I mean by that is that I want to have as little money out of pocket as possible on the deal. Okay, when you work with hard money lenders, they have some requirements. Okay, they want you to have skin on the game. So what does that mean? They want you to put down at least 10 to 15% down. Okay, so if you buy a house that is going to be 100,000 plus the rehab 150, they want you to have at least bring to the closing table no less than 10%. So it's going to be at least 10, 15, 20,000. Okay, including closing costs. So you're going to need to have money readily available to close on a transaction when using hard money lenders. However, when you use private money lenders or individuals' money, it's a different story. Because guess what? You can finance 100% of not only the purchase, but also the rehab. You heard me correctly. You can finance 100% of the purchase and the rehab. Okay, that is why I love private money lenders. Okay, and what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna give you an example of a property that we have on the contract that we're gonna close next week, and we're using a private money lender. So let me just jump on the computer to share my screen and give you the numbers. So pretty much, I'm just gonna quickly explain. This property is in Burbank. So Burbank is a B neighborhood, and it's a great cash flow or rental market. The purchase price on the property is about 105 with all the fees, and the rehab is gonna be about 20. So altogether is going to be about 125, 120, 125. Okay, those are the numbers on the property. So let me quickly jump in and show you what it looks when you do private money lender financing. Okay, so here we have, this is the closing statement, okay, for this is gonna close on December 14. As you can see right here, I cannot highlight, but right here it says settlement date, disbursement date, December 14. So it's gonna be early next week, okay, and we're gonna scroll down. So as you can see here, it's purchase price 94 plus all the fees. So right here, I'm gonna go to the bottom of it. So right here, we need to bring 90,000 to closing. Okay, the whole transaction is gonna be about 100,000, but we need to bring 90,000 to the table. Okay, because we gave a down payment, so that's what they're taking into account. But overall, the whole transaction is gonna be about $100,000. And let me show you the note. Okay, so right here, let me go to the other document. Okay, so the other document is on the back. Okay, so this is what the note looks like. Okay, so it's me, and we are borrowing 120,000 right here. I cannot highlight, but you can see on the recital, we're borrowing $120,000. Okay, so what does that mean to you, or what does that mean? 120. Okay, so what it means is we're borrowing pretty much everything on this transaction. So not only are we borrowing the purchase price, but also the rehab 100%. So what are we bringing to the table? Zero out of pocket. Okay, so the key thing is that we need to make sure that we stay within budget. Okay, so to closing, we need to bring 90,000. So we're gonna have 30,000 remaining. So we're planning to keep the rehab under 25,000. Ideally, I would like to hit 20,000 on the rehab so that we have absolutely no money on the deal. Should we go over 20,000 on the rehab, then that's going to be pretty much on us. So we're going to have for sure less than 10,000 stuck in this deal. And this property will appraise for close to 180,000. Okay. So again, we're borrowing from Sony Comfort Management Corporation, private money lender, 120. And this is the property address, 8546 Nashville Avenue in Berkman. So this is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. It's a small property, no basement. And so it's pretty much what the document looks like. It's fairly lengthy when you sign, because you need a note. You need the mortgage, which is going to get recorded after closing. So they're going to hold the first position lien. Okay, so let me scroll down to the next important document. Okay, so let me scroll down. So a lot of guarantees. So, and then it has to be notarized, obviously. Okay, promissory note. So you sign a promissory note. The interest on this loan is going to be 12% or 1% per month. Okay, so we're going to be paying $1,200 a month. Okay, for this loan, meaning only about, yeah, 1200 a month. Okay, so now let me scroll to the bottom. Yeah, right here. So it's going to close 1200 per month, and the interest rate is going to be 12%. Okay, so very, very simple. So it's a pretty lengthy document. It's maybe, I don't know, 30 pages. And the next big document, or the most important one, it's the mortgage right here. This is the mortgage. So the mortgage is going to be recorded. And what it does is it puts a first position lien for the lender. Okay, so should we default on the payment, not only will the lender get first position, but also all the rents, all the leases get transferred over to the private money lender. So this is what's going to get recorded, okay, the mortgage. It's a legal document that is recorded. So let's go back to the board, okay? So it was just a very simple example of how using private money lenders is one of the better ways to grow exponentially, because you're going to be able to have very little money down. Not only that, but we also have another property on the contract that we're doing exactly the same thing. The purchase price, this property is in Lansing. It's a 2-flat for about 89,000 purchase price. Rehab is going to be about 60 to 70, so we're borrowing 150. So we're borrowing 100% of the purchase, 100% of the rehab, okay? So now the question is, the big question is, if I'm a newbie, will I get funded for my deals? The answer is yes, but this is the trick, okay? So if you are new to real estate and you want to get funded, obviously you, number one, you must have a great deal with the spread that I mentioned, $100,000 spread. So this is what you need to do to get funded. You need to present the deal to get it funded. So this is what you're going to need to present. Number one, you're going to need to present your rental or flip exit strategy. So the numbers, if you're going to keep the property, what's going to be the cash flow? If you're going to flip the property, what's going to be the net profit on the flip? Okay, so you've got to know your numbers. Number two, you have to show comps, okay? So when you do all the work on the property, how much are you gonna be able to appraise the property for, okay? Whether you keep it or you flip it, what's going to be the ARV on the property? So private money lenders, they wanna see comps, okay? They wanna see the value of the property after it's been rehabbed, okay? Super important. Next, they want to know more about you, okay? So your personality, your experience, personality, your experience, okay? That's important. So even if you are new, guess what? You've got to stress your numbers on the flip and rental analysis, whichever way you're going to take, and the comps, okay? Also, something that is super, super important is the scope of work, okay? Scope of work, okay? So these are the 4 elements that are gonna get you funded. So what I mean by scope of work, you can come up with your own scope of work. We're gonna give you today a 1-pager that helps you come up with an accurate scope of work, but you also have the option to get a GC to give you a quote, right? And then you can attach that to the presentation report that you're going to present to the private money lender. So they're going to be looking for scope of work. How much are you going to spend on the property? It could be your scope of work, or you can bring a GC to give you 1 or 2 quotes. And then comps, super important, and your numbers analysis. So the cool thing, friends, is that in ChicagoDealVault, we are going to help you with the rental and flip analysis and also the comps. Okay, when it comes to number crunching and analysis, we're going to do that for you. Now, the scope of work, since we're not able to see the property as you are, then we are going to give you the tools for you to accurately do the scope of work. Or the easier way would be to get a GC. And guess what? We just added over 100 contractors in ChicagoDealVault on the preferred partners. So guess what? We have added many GCs, okay, that are qualified that you can leverage. So all it takes is a phone call to one of these GCs to go out to the property and give you a scope of work. It has to be in writing, okay, because you're gonna pin that to the report. So I'm gonna show you in ChicagoDealVault how in seconds we can create the rental and flip analysis as well as the comps. Takes less than a minute. And then obviously the scope of work, either you do it yourself with the one pager we're gonna give you today, or you call some of the GCs that we have in ChicagoDealVault. So anyways, it's going to be easy. And then personality, rapport. This is something very important for you to give confidence to the private money lender. So even if you are new, it's okay, it doesn't matter, but always explain to them your plan, your numbers, because you need to make sure that they feel comfortable with your approach. And if they see, they're gonna probably have more experience than you when it comes to running the numbers. So they're gonna maybe ask you questions, right? Question some of the items on the report, but that's okay. Be ready to answer any questions. But the good news is that right now there's more money through private money lenders than there are deals to get funded, okay? And guess what? In ChicagoDealVault, we also have over 4,000 private money lenders, believe it or not, over 4,000. And guess what? We give you their contact information, email, cell phone number. So it is super powerful. We're putting everything together for you to build a rental empire or a flipping business should you desire to do so 2021. Okay, so we want to give you the tools. I want to give you the options that you have to get funding for your deals. Now we're going to take some questions from the line, but before we do that, I would like to quickly summarize what we talked about right now. Okay, so to get funded for your deals, you need to have 3 things. You need to have a great deal, you need to understand basic analysis, and you need to have funding. But you're gonna get funding if you have a great deal. So everything goes back to having a great deal. Now, what does it take to have a great deal? $100,000 spread. The sweet spot to buy a property should always be less than $200,000, and the rehab should always be less than $50,000. You always need to have a 25% equity on the deal so that you're able to refinance, meaning pay off the expensive either hard money lender or private money lender, okay? Now, this is the secret, right? Having your purchase price 100, rehab 50, and the property prices for 200. Okay, super important. Now, these are the funding options that you have available to you. Cash, not so crazy about that. You want to put as little money as possible. Hard money lenders, private money lenders, thumbs up. They're asset-based. It's expensive money, around 12%. Interest rate, 2 points. Short-term loan, 4 to 12 month term. Okay, and then you have the rest. The pension plans, partnerships, seller financing, home equity line of credit to tap into your equity from your personal home, business credit cards, and line of credits from hard money lenders. Okay, so they look at your liquidity, and that's how they can give you line of credits. Now, to present your deal, to get it funded, you need 4 elements. Okay, 1 is your analysis for your exit strategy. Number 2, you need accurate comps, and number 3, you need the scope of work. And obviously, your personality is super important. We're in a people's business. You've got to build rapport with them. You've got to tell them your goals, your experience, who you're working with is super important. So we're going to back you up on every deal presentation that you have, okay? Because we want to make sure that you get funded. Not only that, we're going to make over 4,000 private money lenders available to you. We're going to give you access to over 10 GCs. So when you need a scope of work, boom, just phone call away, and then we can vet your deal to make sure that it makes sense, right? So you want to present something that truly makes sense to a private money lender, right? You're not going to present something that doesn't make sense because that's going to hurt your reputation with them. So having said that, and also I just shared with you a note, a mortgage document from a private money lender. So we have zero money on the deal. We're borrowing 100% of the purchase price, 100% of the rehab, to have as little money stock as possible on the property. So I love private money lender. It's more flexible. That's, I believe, the way to go for 2021, okay? So having said that, I'm gonna show you something on the screen and take some questions. Okay, let's answer some of the questions on the line. Okay, I want to. Okay, perfect. So, Mary, Eric, those Harmony Lender, private money lender quality as cash? Absolutely. Harmony Lender, private money lenders is as cash, Eric. So, great question. Absolutely. Next question is, everyone from the top. Are there any other questions? Is there a way to make a screen only Hugo's hard to see? Okay. Any other questions on the line? So I see very few questions on the line. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to present the deal to get it funded. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen and I will do it in minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna show you the resources that we're gonna make available to you. So let me go to ChicagoDealVault. Okay, let me log on to the system. Thank you for letting me know about the echo. Okay, so I want to show you in ChicagoDealVault. Can you hear me okay? Is that better, Phil?
Yes, Hugo, that's better.
Thank you. Okay, can you explain the process once the seller accepts accepts to sell the property? So if Belinda, if the seller accepts to sell the property, then you need to get them to sign the contract, and then you schedule closing. If you're buying the property yourself, so we have the contracts, purchase contracts, assignment contracts. We have them all. If you need them, we can give you access to them. Please send us an email to support@chicagodealvault.com. So let me show you how easy it is to present the deal to get it funded. We're going to spend like just a couple of minutes. So I'm going to randomly pick a property that is in Plainfield, that is in pre-foreclosure. I want to make sure that it shows the number of bedrooms, or Joliet. It's a hot market. Okay, so let's take the Joliet property. Okay, so let's assume in this case this property is worth about less than 200,000. Okay, so now let's assume that we're gonna get these on the contract for, based on the table that we have here, for about $100,000. Okay, so again, I buy it for 100, or you buy it for 100. You're gonna put less than 50,000, and the property should appraise for close to 200,000. That's the key. So the rehab right here that we have estimated for this property is about 33,000. So let's now run some comps. So all I need to do is scroll down and then click on search. I want to pull the comps for 3 bedrooms, 1 bath in Joliet. Okay, they should be somewhere in the 200,000 range. What I'm going to do is once they show up, I need to remove the ones that are not comparable, meaning the ones that have not been rehabbed, the outliers, okay, the super cheap properties, they're not comps because they have not been rehabbed, okay. And then what I'm gonna do is just plug in few numbers on the rental calculator and the flip calculator, okay. While this comes back, I'm gonna move over to the rental calculator, okay. And in the rental calculator, all we need to do is plug in few expenses, okay? So I think the comps came back, boo, we have a lot of comps. So I'm gonna go over to the right column and then I'm gonna remove the outliers. Like these 125, that's not a comp. 135, that's not a comp, that's too low. So all of them are in the upper 150. So let's assume they're all comps. Right away, we're gonna come up with the ARV, $171,000. Okay, let's assume all of these are comps. We plot them on the map. So what I will do next is go to the rental calculator. We know the rent is gonna be $1,700 on this property. Utilities, they're gonna be paid by the tenant. Maintenance, I'm gonna allocate $100 per month. Management fee, it's $50 per door. Insurance is gonna be maybe $90. Taxes on this property, I can look them up. They are under the owner loan tab, 3,600. Let's say, yeah, 3,600. So that's equivalent to 300 a month. And then property costs, how much are we buying the property for? So ChicagoDealVault is telling us that we should buy it for about $100,000, and the rehab shouldn't be more than 30,000. So we're gonna buy these for 100,000. 1, 2, 3. 100, 1, 2, 3, 100,000. The rehab is going to be, let's make it 30,000. 2, 3. Okay. Calculate, and then I'm gonna go over to the flip. On the flip, we know we can sell it for 171. Then the rehab is gonna be 30,000. 1, 2, 3. Hold time 4 months. Sales cost is a percentage of the sales price. I'm gonna put commission. They're gonna charge us maybe 5% commission. Utilities, you're gonna pay for gas, electric, water while you hold the property for the rehab. So it's gonna be about 200 a month. Insurance, we said 90. Taxes, we said 300. And we're buying the property for 100,000. 100,000. Okay, we're doing financing. We're putting 10% down. Okay, so we have all the numbers. All I'm gonna do now, check this out. I'm gonna click on this button that says, I'm gonna make it bigger so all of you know. Right here, it says generate report. Okay, so when I click on generate report, it will do the presentation report that you need to show to the private money lender. So I'm gonna show you what it looks like, okay? So it's the property address, it's gonna be your personal contact information. Here's the marketing sheet, right? So it's the details of the property. Then you have the flip exit strategy number. If we can sell it for 171 and we buy it for 100, we put in 30,000, and taking into account the holding expense and the commission to sell the property, we're gonna make a $30,000 flip profit, which is really, really good, because let me tell you, you need to make at least 20% profit. So 20% of 170 is 34,000. So you're making a decent profit should you decide to do a flip. Now, if you do a rental, you're gonna be cash flowing about 730. So this would be a great rental. Okay, so here's the rental, 1,700. We're gonna deduct all the expenses, minus the mortgage, the interest, the rehab, closing costs, and so forth. So this is what they're looking for. Not only that, but look at this. We show all the comps right here, all the properties that sold in the neighborhood right here, all of them, and we show them side by side. So to show that we're comparing apples with apples, okay? So we were able to find over 15 comps, okay? So we're gonna show them side by side, all plot on the map, And if you have the option to upload pictures, should you see, once you see the property from the inside. But just in a nutshell, this is what private money lenders are going to be looking for. They want to see the numbers, on the exit strategy. They want to see your comps, and they want to see the scope of work. Now, the scope of work, you can either call, let me show you, on their preferred partners. I'm gonna go to general contractors right here. Boom, look at this. Look how many options we're giving you. We added over 100 preferred partners over the weekend. Okay, so all it takes is a phone call. Call any of these GCs to give you a quote so that you can attach that to the presentation. Or you also have the option, if you feel comfortable doing your own scope of work, once you go to the property, you have rehab estimator right here. So you can go item by item, whether you're gonna repair it or replace it, scroll down, see all the expenses for the labor, the material, and we're gonna help you generate a scope of work that is going to be included into the report, okay? So, having said that, let me go back to the presentation. Perfect. So we're back online. That was just a quick demo, friends, on how in minutes you are able to create your presentation report to present to private money lenders. Again, we're gonna give them what they want to see and to minimize the risk and for them to feel more comfortable with your approach. So the numbers, the comps, the scope of work, and obviously they need to feel trusted with what you're doing. So always, if you are very, very new, try to learn from the pros. Also look for partnerships. If you don't have everything that it takes that I show you today, don't worry. There are many, many people who do have, so you can complement each other and then do a partnership, a joint venture agreement, so that you can get funding for your deals. So are there any questions on the line that we can take? That concludes today's seminar, but we're going to do something really cool for you. If you still don't have access to Chicago Deal, but we're going to give you a 30-day free access when you sign up today. The promo code is funding. So Phil, could you please post instructions on the chat for people to get a 30-day free trial? Promo code is funding. Again, you have unlimited training. You have access to over 4,000 private money lenders on the system. You have access to over 150 preferred partners. That includes contractors, inspectors, attorneys, you name it. Everyone that you need to have access to, we're going to give you access to. Not only that, we are going to help you vet your deal. So you can send us what you have, and then we'll help you prepare it to get it funded. So very, very simple.